Okay, a simple way of understanding what dimension is, the basic concept of what it is and how to understand it. Okay, in the level of a kid, I guess. Okay, so take a line. Take a line for an example. Okay, now between this line, imagine my position is on this particular point. I'm in this particular point. Now, how many values do I need to identify this point from relative to any other point? So basically, let's say this is 2 centimeters. All I need to say is I'm standing 2 centimeters away from any this point, for example. So what am I using? I'm using one dimension here, right? Basically, I'm using one, this is called as a dimension, one value I need to just identify my point. Now if I take two dimensions, right, now at any point in this plane, consider this as a plane, and then imagine I'm right here. I'm not exactly like this figure, like take me as a point over here, right? So now let's say this is 2 centimeters and this is 3 centimeters. Now I need two values, right? I need 3 centimeter from this axis and 2 centimeter from this axis. So I need two values, I need two dimensions to identify this exact point. So when it comes to 3D, right, there's another axis involved, and what do you say if I take a point in this plane? 3D, three-dimensional is what we are in. Three dimensions is what we can understand and perceive. So if I take a point, I'm standing over here in the middle of this space, it could be 3 dimensions, right? So now I have one distance that is from this plane and another distance from this one and one more from here. So I need 3 points to identify how much to identify the position that I'm taking up, right? So now I need 3 dimensions. So this is what dimensions mean. So basically dimension is a direction you can go in. It's the point. Dimension is used to identify the position of a point. Now these are the dimensions we can see, but now the another dimension, if you have seen, let's say a lot of equations in when you study, like when you study your second PUC or any other basic level of education, if you take the units of, let's say, speed, what is the unit of speed? This everyone would know, like if you're not the basic unit, but if you're driving car and bikes, you'll know that it's kilometer per hour, right? So what is happening is one of the dimension you're using is distance, another dimension using is time. So we've been using this for a long time but not actually knowing that it's another dimension. This dimension is something we can't control. For example, we as a three-dimensional human being, we can choose to move in either of the three directions that we know of, right? You can either go straight, left, right, back, or up. And it's not doesn't make 5 dimensions. Straight and back is one, left and right is one, and up and down is one. So basically there's only like 3 dimensions you can move. This is controllable for human being because we are a three-dimensional human and we can move through it. And time is one we are taken for granted. For example, we move through time. Yes, we do time travel because we grow old every second, and it's taken for granted. And but the thing is, we don't have control over this, and that is why we don't consider it, or we don't exactly have the proof that this is the other dimension, because we can't go travel through time yet, at least. And so basically that makes you think, right? If you could possibly, like you could control, and then you could be like, I want to be 3 feet 2 inches 5 centimeters away from, let's say, this exact point, and at 3 years in the future from now. And then you could see what happens 3 years in the future, this exact point, and that would be crazy.